Welcome to another video from me, presenting you the Shadowbringers job abilities of the Summoner, and the changes those accommodate. Again, I'm relying on the information by participants of the US media tour, and all of these information and potency values can be subject to change until 5.0 launches. But let us start with the meta. The following skills are not changed significantly, namely Physic, Resurrection, Fester and Kindle, Pain Flare and Miasma. I hope that they consider changing Physic in sticking to the Intelligence stat for the Summoner and the Mind stat as Scholar, because otherwise it would be a useless waste of hotbar space, and only having value on low level content like it already was in Stormblood and Heavensward unfortunately. Bios and Miasma's duration also will change to 30 seconds on lower levels, to make them line up more properly. Good one here, Square. On the other hand, their level 3 versions are reduced by 10 potency per tick, but that will be compensated by heavier versions of all rune spells. All of them are more efficient and potent when you have the dots on the target, meaning to always cast them on the targets afflicted with your dots. Above that, Rune 2 is way weaker than Rune 3, making their difference much decisive and taking out the god mode mobility of the Summoner. However, you will get many gimmicks to compensate that new deficit by more possibilities to actively proc your Rune 4, which makes you mobile again. Therefore, let me introduce you some new abilities, namely Eggy Assault 1 and 2, and the corresponding Eggy abilities. And at level 74, these get enhanced and always grant you a guaranteed Rune 4 proc, that now is also able to stack. So these are massive changes to actively take control of your pet, and make use of it while it also cannot be targeted by any enemy spell or healing ability, therefore removing Sustain for that reason. I really welcome these changes, as we can manage to stack Rune 4 procs for movement situations, and this due to actively forced help of our companion, which feels much more like a summoner should feel like. To make this even clearer for beginners, and to simplify the theory crafted value of Siegfried and Garuda, they cleaned up their definitions with Garuda for AoE occasions and Ifrit for single target DPS. Titan seems to hang between them, and may be of use inside of any transition or preparation phase with the help of his earthen armor, or maybe to use him as pre-buffing pet to activate a Rune 4 proc before pull, while also shielding the tank. I hope that Square has planned these possibilities into their concept, because all of the summons are instant casts now, but have a 10-second recast timer, which spans open the advantages of logical and meaningful pet swaps during combat. That assumption is furthermore reinforced through Garuda's Enkindle attack being way more powerful than the one of Ifrit, so you can easily swap for Enkindle cooldowns and back swap them afterwards. Guys, I'm absolutely hyped about this, because this seems very profound while not sounding like stupid workarounds for silly pet AI, like we had throughout Stormblood and some parts of Heavensward. But let us take a short break, before turning into the complex and more radical changes, with checking off the obvious and easy to get changes. First of all, Enkindle has its recast timer reduced to 120 seconds, down from 180, and the passive has been removed that its cooldown decreases with every Rune 4 proc. Good one here, as always when removing unnecessary RNG factors. Then Devotion has been buffed to a raw 5% boost to adjacent party members from a previous 30 yard range to 15 yard range, and has its healing boost removed. Simply and newly, another spell is introduced, namely Outburst, that is a multiple target of Rune, without being bolstered by applied dots. That seems to be the remnant of our most hated Tribind, and gives us a little boost to AoE potential, due having it always at our disposal and not only on the Dreadworm trance. Above that, Tri-Disaster has been buffed for its rune improvement effect at level 76, now lasting 30 seconds instead of 15, and also granting the newly acquired Outburst a potency boost as well. The difference between Fester and Pain Flare in dealing single target DPS has been spread more because of the new resource management of the Summoner, but more to that later. The AoE Divinity the Summoner had has been undermined by reducing the damage output of Akmorn and Death Flare on secondary targets to a limited 50% of the single target damage. That sounds heavy, but realistically the Summoner still seems to remain as the god of AoE, because of the massive AoE potential coming out of his Firebird trance, with a similar enkindling of Phoenix like you can do with Bahamut to blast off Akmorn. Beyond that, our Bane spell no longer requires Ether to be cast, so we can gain access to more Pain Flares, while also having it spread our Tri-Disaster Ruination effect on all targets at level 78. Furthermore, the enhanced Dreadworm Trance 2 at level 72 grants us 2 stacks of Dreadworm Ether to grant us instant access to Bahamut directly after using Dreadworm Trance a single time. So dear citizens of Eorzea, kneel before the current and abiding king of AoE. But more to Bahamut, who is subject to a significant change in the form of a modification of the Summon Bahamut tooltip, who now says that he will cast his Worm Waves off of magical attacks on the target, and according to Larry inside of his video, this is only triggered by spells who trigger the global cooldown, so lining up Bahamut phase with Aetherflow is obviously no topic anymore, what also wouldn't make any sense due to the new Aetherflow system. And that mentioned, we have to accept the fact that our beloved Aetherflow button is gone, but is now merged into a new version of Energy Drain, dealing 100 potency and granting us 2 Aetherflow stacks, with a recast timer of just 30 seconds. And so the only drawback here is that we are not able to precast Aetherflow in some occasions, and can wait to have its cooldown run down for the ultimate bursty opener. But on the other hand, we are receiving a much more linear Aetherflow on steroids in the form of Energy Drain, while also having an AoE version of it in the form of Energy Siphon. The most significant modification here is that you no longer need to spend Aetherflow stacks to gain access to your Dreadworm Trance, so you are much more free in making these cooldown decisions instead of being forced to rotate into this 2-minute cycle over and over again, spending resources, gaining resources, and so on. I didn't do any math here, but I think this will be a blast in making the summoner great again. And that's it. Wait, what do you say? We're getting another stance on level 72 with a Phoenix summon on level 80? Yes, forgive me, I already mentioned that before. That Firebird Trance on level 72 reduces our spell casting time by 2.5 seconds, like the new Dreadworm Trance version is doing as well, meaning to also make it use as a speed up to resurrection times. In contrast to Dreadworm Trance, it also changes Rune 3 to Fountain of Fire, that has the same potency like Rune 3 on dot afflicted targets, but also gives us access to Brand of Purgatory, that is a 300 potency AoE attack, meaning to make the Firebird Trance even heavier than other phases in AoE reasons. Beyond this, we gain access to Phoenix on level 80, which is Bahamut on steroids, dealing the old version potency division of Akmorn, while also granting the party a regen effect upon summoning. And so much for the summoner job changes in Shadowbringers. Let us break them down and give you my opinion. First of all, I'm most excited on how we will be able to switch between our pets inside of combat, and now all of this with logical reasons and not just by tricking out poorly programmed pet AI. Above that, maybe finally having use for Titan in transition phases or pre-pulling, that I would enjoy very much. Also the reduction of RNG factors from out attacks of pets to decrease the Enkindle cooldown and being the only access to Rune 4 and being able to stack it, I welcome a lot, giving us back our control over specific combat situations without having to use Dreadworm Trance for mobility reasons. I definitely will experience some situations where the tank pulls the enemy and I'm shocked. Why I haven't already clicked Aetherflow and have no stacks to use right into the fight. But the improved Aetherflow versions inside of Energy Drain and Energy Siphon will compensate our wrong habits in no time, I think. Above that, I think it will be much more fun on the way to building up our impressive summons, while still having undisputed supporting power through devotion, fast resurrections, and keep our MP superiority over the Red Mage likewise, as I'm expecting it. But the best thing and change in philosophy and the summoner's combat apparition is the direct control over our pet with Aggie Assaults, creating a much more classical summoner feeling where the focus had been laid onto our summons instead of just being the warlock with an imp throwing balls of fire. All of this is enforced by another summon in the form of a completely animated Phoenix, that is Bahamut on steroids, while also we are keeping Bahamut inside of our summoning repertoire, bringing us closer than ever to our beloved summoners of the Final Fantasy series. Yoshi-P, thank you. And thanks to you all for watching this video. What are your thoughts on the summoner changes? Feel free to share them inside of the comment section and let us enjoy the awesome new summoner in Shadowbringers. Leave a like, subscribe or hit that notification bell, and also visit Larrysaurus, Mr. Happy's and MTQ Captures videos to pay tribute to their effort in taking part into the media tour and giving us these precious information just before Shadowbringers. We see us in the next video and keep smashing the Aetherflow button. At least in remembrance.